I would like to see, we would like to see as loyal party men and people who have the interest of the party at heart, we would like to see a situation where such a letter would have the endorsement of a minimum of 1/3 of the members of the State Executive Committee.
So what do you think is the way out of this governors forum scenario where two people are laying claim to the same thing?
Well, the governors, I do believe that the governors forum is an association of persons that is registered under the Companies and Allied Matters Act. Therefore, it's a private association. It's a private association. And I do not think that any governor needs to be a member of it. That association is meant strictly for peer reviews. And if they want to even develop it further, to grow it further, they should actually incorporate, even ex-governors so that they can help them and guide them, through their own past experiences. So it is more useful to the people. But it is not something that I think should tear the country apart or tear the governors apart, because what the governors should be concerned about, what everybody should be concerned about, is the systemic failing that we are experiencing. Because of this systemic failing, because the National Executive Committee of the party cannot meet, different persons are spreading stories, and people are taking decisions based on stories that they hear.
If I may come in here, you say the governors should concern themselves more about the systemic failings. Now, there are those who believe that if 35 private individuals, as you have said, cannot come together to agree on a particular issue, what's the guarantee that on the bigger scale, there will be a moving forward, there will be an agreement?
This is why I like to suggest that the most important thing in Nigeria is to build institutions. If these individuals cannot agree, and then there is an institutional overlap, there is an institution to which they can be referred, I think that to work better. If, for example, they come and say the governors forum has a chairman has emerged, and then that Governor Rotimi emerged based mostly on the votes of governors who are not members of the PDP, and this matter is taken to the National Executive Committee. Even those members of the governors who are governors on the platform of the PDP, on the platform of the PDP, can say whether or not they actually would prefer for Rotimi to be chairman of Governors Forum, or that whether they were manipulated, or they will tell us what happened. They will tell us what happened.
No, perhaps maybe you should also let the people know what you think happened, because people are a little bit confused now. Who, to you, would you say is the chairman of the Governors Forum in Nigeria?
Who would I say is the chairman of the Governors Forum in Nigeria? Who I would say is the chairman of the Governors Forum in Nigeria is the person that was announced as the winner of the election that they conducted. I do understand, I do acknowledge that perhaps the governors of the PDP were working towards an arrangement, where they will have a consensus candidate that they will present. But based on that form that preceded the election, because that thing was signed all in sometime in April, that's why we see that cancellation. The name of Jonathan Jang was handwritten. That could have been written in May, after April. That's why I believe that quite all right, it is possible that the governors of the PDP had agreed that they would have one candidate, a consensus candidate. But on the day of the election, I don't know why they then decided to have a consensus candidate and opted for election. They had an election. So the election result should hold. And if you go further, all these the ideas and stories about PDP Governors Forum, I think with due respect, and it shows us another reason why we should respect our institutions.
You're a member of the PDP, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I'm a member of the PDP, and I was a member of the National Executive Committee of the PDP for upwards of 7 years. And I'm very passionate about the defense of the PDP ideology and ideals. But today, we see PDP almost going to the dogs, and we do not like it. But then, these are not controversial issues yet.
Well, for this one about the Nigeria Governors Forum, I mean, we had lots of comments about Nigerians who actually couldn't believe what they saw and what they heard, because after that video was showed here, which we did for a lot of time yesterday, I mean, you have people who came in and said, no, that video was immaterial. By extension, what transpired there couldn't be taken seriously from their perspective, and that they wouldn't rely or they wouldn't go with the notion that Governor Amaechi was the winner. But in that video, it showed that there was an election, counting was done, voting was done, results was announced. Governor Amaechi was announced as the winner, getting 19 votes to that of Governor Jang, who got 16. But they still go on there saying, be that as it may, that cannot be. And people ask themselves, if this is the ruling party, and this is the way they're going about some of these things, what are they teaching Nigerians and young people who were watching, even in the face of material that was clear, and then they denied? They just thought that it was unbelievable.
If the National Executive Committee of the PDP would meet, there are several issues that will be resolved. One of the first issues that should be resolved, that should be addressed by the National Executive Committee of the PDP, is the illegality of the PDP Governors Forum.
Illegality?
Yes.
In terms of
that
information or what?
That is the first thing that the National Executive Committee of the party should deal with, because it's the conscience of the party. The provisions of the party constitution prohibit the formation of any group of persons under the guise of the party that is not provided for as an organ in the party constitution.
Really?
So to me, a person who is interested in the survival of the People's Democratic Party, I see the PDP Governors Forum as an aberration.
So why is it that no member before now has raised that up? Because we have so many legal minds in PDP, and your party also has an institution, and so we felt that if there existed a clause in your constitution as a party, they should have raised that up when the formation of that Governors Forum was being mooted.
Well, we are 150 million Nigerians. We don't all talk at the same time.
No, but the PDP is not 150 million.
Well, we're majority. It's there in the constitution. You want to read it?
No, we don't have it. You remember, we're not.
No, but I can read it out to you if you like.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see. Sure. It's there. It's very clear. It's there. It says offenses and punishments. Subject to the provisions of this constitution, the party shall have power to discipline any member who, that's Article 21.1 sub J, who promotes factions or belongs to any group under the guise of the party and by whatever name called, not being one provided for in this constitution.
So the constitution does not give room for any form of association of its members?
Called the PDP Governors Forum. So now, if certain persons have constituted themselves into a PDP Governors Forum, that is a faction, and they belong to a group under the guise of the party, because they named it after under the party.
Sorry, but can they call themselves PDP Governors Committee?
No, they cannot do that.
So they cannot have any committee?
They cannot do that. As far as it is not an organ that is provided for by this constitution. But therefore, these people have all committed offenses, including the persons who are supporting them.
Some will say, okay, since the Nigerian Governors Forum is existing based on the freedom, the right of a citizen, freedom of association on the constitution, they'll say they also have a right based on that same part of the constitution that they can associate. No, but do not under the guise of the party. That is the qualifying. Does the constitution, the Nigerian constitution not say that the Nigerian constitution overrides every other constitution whatsoever? Yes, the Nigerian constitution overrides every other constitution, but don't forget that. Don't forget that in those there are some old cases on party membership and the constitution. If you look at the Rimi cases of those days, if you cannot live or function under the constitution of your political party, then you are no longer entitled to remain as a member of the party. You may leave. But that brings us again to another issue for which I have some reservations.
Should we also be thinking of asking Governor Amaechi, just the way Governor Jang has done, to convoke a meeting and see how many of these governors will come?
Well, for me, if you ask me,